Bill O'Brien's second season as the Texans head coach. He is 3-0 all-time head-to-head against the Tennessee Titans. You see where his Texans sit currently. Have that inside track to an AFC South Division title. Mike Mularkey, meantime, the interim head coach, took over just 2 days after the last meeting between these two teams. Actually, it was Week 8 in Houston. Ken Wisenhunt fired on the Tuesday following that game. And Mularkey trying to get this team its fourth victory of the season. Houston winning the toss, Bill O'Brien deferring, and so Tennessee will take possession of the football. Trey McBride watches that one sail through the back of the end zone, and here comes Zach Mettenberger, making his fourth start of the season, his first since that Week 8 encounter in Houston, and he can only hope, Solomon, that his fortunes are a little bit better for him here today.
Yeah, remember, they're playing a different style of offense philosophically without Marcus Mariota, who they would get out of the pocket and use his athleticism and mobility. But for Zach Mettenberger, he's a guy that is going to have to stand in the pocket, has to get the ball out quickly before J.J. Watt in that pass rush can close in on.
Mettenberger 0-8 all-time in his career as an NFL starter on 1st and 10. They keep it on the ground. This is Antonio Andrews, the second-year runner out of Western Kentucky. Offensive starters for this Tennessee team that has had all kinds of issues. Joe Looney makes the start. We saw him come on last week in relief of the rookie Andy Gallick. So Looney makes the start. Delaney Walker was none too pleased about being snubbed by the Pro Bowl voters earlier this week. What a season he has had. 76 catches as he leads all NFL tight ends in that category. 2nd and 9 after the short run. This is a quick strike to Kendall Wright. Back in the lineup after missing the last 2 games with a rib injury. Quentin Demps, the safety, able to bring him down. How about this defense? J.J. Watt is Pro Bowl bound yet again. Got the call earlier this week. 3rd game since he suffered that broken hand in practice. Whitney Merciless, 3.5 sacks in the last meeting in Houston. And Jadeveon Clowney starting to come on. Jonathan Joseph snubbed by Pro Bowl voters as well. Seemed like his teammates were a little bit more upset about that snub than he was. Just kind of took it in stride. Mettenberger from the gun on 3rd and 3. Quick strike, completes over the middle. That's Walker, the tight end. Brought down right outside the 33, 6 yards, and a Tennessee first down.
And we talk about Zach Mettenberger getting the ball out quickly as he does on this play to Delaney Walker. But look at the pass protection. Keeping a clean pocket for Zach Mettenberger will be premium and priority #1 today. And you can see going at the legs of J.J. Watt to keep him from getting to Zach Mettenberger.
Walker approaching 1,000 yards on the season in what has been a career season for him. Mettenberger know where to throw the football down the field. Pressure coming from J.J. Watt. And I spent a lot of time watching film of that first meeting. Tough to have any kind of success as a quarterback when you are pressured the way he was in that Week 8 game back in Houston.
Yeah, I think what Mettenberger has to do a better job is climbing the pocket. He tends to drift back out of the pocket as he did on that play. He essentially ran right into the pressure with J.J. Watt coming off the right side.
This is 2nd and 10, just outside the 30. Andrews on a 2nd carry. Football comes loose. It's recovered by Demps, and he will stroll into the end zone. There's a penalty marker on the field just behind the line of scrimmage. 32 yards on the return by Demps if the play stands.
Not the start that Mike Mularkey had in mind.
Holding. Offense, number 80. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
Anthony Fasano, the culprit. And the return fumble for a touchdown will stand for Demps.
Watch Kareem Jackson, number 25. There's the hit right there. Ball comes out of the hands of Andrews, scooped up by Quentin Demps. We talked about this defense. We said at the top, Romeo Crennel has them playing with a much higher energy since that Week 7 loss to Miami. Pursuit angles and tackling has been the emphasis. And when you hit like this, the ball tends to pop loose.
29th turnover on the season committed by Tennessee. 2nd most in the NFL. They've had 1 turnover at least in all 15 games that they've played. Point after by Nick Novak is good. And the Houston Texans get the start they were looking for. Demps on a 32-yard return. 7-0 Texans early. First career touchdown for the safety, Quentin Demps, the eighth-year man out of UTEP. And you see what this defense has done. They have feasted against the Tennessee Titans, as have a lot of defenses around the NFL. It is officially a 33-yard return on the recovered fumble by Demps. This is Trey McBride's going to play it, and he pays the price right around the 16-yard line, tackled by Brian Peters after a 21-yard return. It has been a Texas-sized turnaround for this Houston defense. Just miraculous with what we've seen from them since that Week 7 debacle in Miami.
They've been dominant. Romeo Crennel got his defense, whipped them into shape after they gave up so many big plays in that Week 7 loss to the Miami Dolphins. And you know Romeo, he's a gentle bear. He's a teddy bear. But after a game like that, he got angry. He really whipped his group into shape and improved their tackling, their energy, and their effort. And they've played really at a high level ever since.
Mike Mularkey inserts his rookie running back, David Cobb, the fifth-round pick out of Minnesota for the first time today. 1st and 10, that strike is caught as Mettenberger throws a dart to Kendall Wright. And Salman, it's one thing to improve as a defense. It's another thing to do it without really making any big, drastic personnel changes or any real changes in terms of what the game plan has been defensively.
Well, Romeo Crennel understands that defense is really about effort and energy. And after that, you just have to have good, sound fundamentals. Tackling has to be priority number one. The ability to wrap up. You don't allow yards after the catch or yards after contact. And then the ball has come out and bounced their way.
2nd and 3 after the strike. And in motion is Walker. Mettenberger on the top. This is Cobb showing some good burst. Crosses the 30, up ahead to the 33-yard line as he picks up 9 yards and a Tennessee first down.
How about the block by right tackle Byron Bell? He's blocking against J.J. Watt. You're going to see it at the bottom of your screen. Go ahead and roll it. Take a look at it. And they come off the ball, and they're able to get Watt right there on the double team. And remember, J.J. Watt talked about it. He's playing with one hand. He said there's still some things I can't do, like hitting and shedding and getting off blocks. I think there was a good example of it there.
1st and 10 after the run by Cobb. And you have to think he'll get a chance after the fumble by Andrews. We visited with J.J. Watt yesterday. He kind of took us through the multiple casts that he has been fitted for. He's got one for Mondays and Tuesdays that he uses to lift weights. Another one for the middle portion of the week, one that's easy to take off when he has to shower and do those kinds of things. And then another one that is basically a club on game days like today.
Well, he told us, he says, look, they told me, hey, we don't even want you to practice. He was like, well, that's not going to work. I have to practice. He needs to get a better feel for how to play with that club, even though he's less than 100%.
On 2nd and 11, this is a screen pass. And he was brought down in the back. And it was interesting. Watt said, I couldn't play at this level if I couldn't practice. Practice for me is very important. And he said that the first game he played after the broken hand was only 3 days after the injury. That was tough. The pain was still fresh. He's gotten more confidence in terms of how to play with this injury since then.
Yeah, and I asked him, I said, why did you play 3 days after breaking your hand, even though you were less than 100%? He said, hey, a lot of kids come to see me play. My teammates need me to be on the field. He said, in so many ways, it's like providing the leadership we need to continue to play well.
High snap. It was fielded by Mettenberger and a quick slant to right as he is brought down right after the catch by the rookie corner Kevin Johnson, well short of a first down after a pickup of only 6.
First-round pick, number 30, Kevin Johnson. Here's a guy that has also improved over the last 2 months of the season. He gives them, I think, 3 really good corners to go along with Jonathan Joseph, Kareem Jackson. It's an excellent draft pick in the first round coming out of Wake Forest, and he's lived up to the billing.
Texans took him with the 16th overall pick in the draft. He has started 9 of the 15 games he has played in what has been a solid rookie campaign. Brett Kern on to punt on 4th and 7. Keith Mumphrey will play it from inside his own 10. Finds the edge and runs out of bounds just shy of the 13-yard line after a punt of 59 yards as Brandon Whedon comes onto the field when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Amazon Fire TV. Change the way you TV. And by the Acura Oh What Fun It Is to Drive event.
Well, during this holiday season, Marcus Mariota bringing some cheer to families in St. Thomas Hospital here in Nashville. Had a chance to meet some of the newborn babies. What a moment for some of those families. First offensive possession for Houston. This is Alfred Blue on 1st and 10. He's tackled by Avery Williamson. So here is Brandon Weeden, 4th different starting quarterback for the Texans this season. That is the most of any team in the NFL.
Yeah, Brandon Weeden knows that he doesn't know this offense very well. He's just going to do what he can, as he did last week in that win against the Indianapolis Colts, to just really keep the ball in play, not turn it over, don't try to do too much, and allow DeAndre Hopkins to make plays.
Weeden's going to drop back on 2nd and 5. Completes to the former Tennessee Titan, Nate Washington, 8 yards and a Houston first down. Let's take a look at the starters offensively for the Texans. Dwayne Brown, the 2-time All-Pro, has been playing with a broken thumb injury for a good portion of the season, makes the start. DeAndre Hopkins got the Pro Bowl call earlier this week on Monday. First time he is selected to the Pro Bowl. What a season he has had. You see Brian Hoyer with the clipboard on the sideline, still recovering from that concussion he sustained a couple of weeks back. Short run on 1st down by Blue. He picks up a couple. Denarius Searcy on the tackle. This Titans defense was one of the surprise units in the NFL early in the season. Jarrell Casey, a big reason why, named a Pro Bowl alternate for a 3rd straight season. Brian Orakpo, coming over in free agency from the Redskins, has had a big season as well. And you just heard from Searcy, not in the lineup last week as he was dealing with a hamstring injury. Here is B.J. Daniels, signed earlier this week off Seattle's practice squad. We knew that we'd see him today, and here he is. A quick strike on 2nd and 8 out of the Wildcat. Finds the rookie Jalen Strong, 7 yards on a nice pickup, and that'll set up a 3rd and short.
Yeah, we said at the top that B.J. Daniels, the quarterback out of South Florida, is going to play some quarterbacks, some wide receivers. You're going to see him featured in the Wildcat in special packages. What did Bill O'Brien tell us? He said, think of him as our Julian Edelman. Edelman did play the quarterback position in college, so we know how he's been used with the Patriots. We're going to use Daniels in the same fashion today.
Weeden back on the field under center on 3rd and 1. This is Blue, needed 36. Looks like he's got it, as the Texans will move the chains. A pickup of 2 by Blue.
I think it's very interesting how they're going to sub out, say, a Brandon Weeden and B.J. Daniels. Each guy, as you take a look at the offensive coordinator, George Godsey, they're just going to give specific roles to each quarterback, depending on what they want to do offensively. Giving the defense different looks. It's not their starting quarterback. Neither quarterback was in training camp with this football team back in August. So you give them just a little bit to do, and maybe they can handle it.
Just a remarkable job that Godsey has done preparing these 4 different starting quarterbacks for a team that is closing in on a postseason berth.
Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's the tackle, Dwayne Brown, on the penalty. You see Bill O'Brien emotional in his post-game speech to his team in the locker room. What a moment that was for a team that has been through so much this season. It's a 2-5 start. There were even whispers about Bill O'Brien's job security in Houston. That seems like a distant memory. What a coaching performance he's had with he and his staff. This is Alfred Blue on 1st and 15. As they sneak past the 35 and up ahead close to the 37-yard line, a pickup of 6.
I want to go back and talk about, them subbing out quarterbacks, whether it's Weeden or B.J. Daniels. Remember, because they have not been with the team, because both are still learning the offense, what you do is you give them a portion of the offense to learn. You give them a package that they can learn, they can still come out and execute that package. I don't think it's a conflict to have 2 quarterbacks playing in this game for the Texans when they're performing 2 different functions.
Shotgun formation on 2nd and 9. That pass from Weeden, errantly thrown, falls incomplete, and it'll be 3rd down and 9 coming up.
Well, this is just a high throw from Brandon Weeden. He's got to step into this, and he's going to have to throw the ball with better accuracy. We saw him do that 1 week ago against the Indianapolis Colts. Came on, played well. They scored on 4 of the 6 possessions when he played quarterback last week. Helping this Texans team to win in Indianapolis for the first time in franchise history.
Waiting on 3rd and 9, looking in the direction of Hopkins. Bit of a miscommunication, it looked like. And on 4th down, the punter will come onto the field.
Clearly, there was a miscommunication there. He expected Hopkins to come out of his break. And you can see Hopkins is still running upfield. So that's a clear miscommunication in terms of how the receiver read the coverage and what Brandon Whedon was seeing and expecting from his receiver.
Whedon had some long days grinding out at the Texans facility this week. Arrived to work at around 5:30 every morning. But still clearly a work in progress as the football comes loose again. Texans appear to have recovered the football, and they have. Football was jarred loose by Alfred Blue, of all people, after a 56-yard punt. And the Texans in business inside the Tennessee 15.
And ever since Alfred Blue came out of LSU 1 year ago, he's made plays like this. He's been a phenomenal special teams player. You can see right there, submarining underneath the legs, and that's when the ball comes out and they're able to get the recovery.
Another look is Harry Douglas fumbling the punt. Second turnover in the quarter as John Weeks, Houston's long snapper, able to recover the fumble. Here's B.J. Daniels. Second snap he's taken already. And apparently they were comfortable enough with the retention of the offense from Daniels in just a couple of weeks.
Right, take a look. The defensive end's going to come up the field. So he should have went ahead and hand that ball off. You see the gaping hole where there was a potential run play for Akeem Hunt. Could have run it in for a touchdown. So Daniels got to make a better decision, a better read on the read option play.
A couple of days of playbook retention, I should say, from Daniels. 2nd and 8. And off taken by Blue as he ducks inside the 10-yard line. Daniels, very decorated career at South Florida, converted by the Seahawks this season to a slot receiver and kick returner. So Daniels will go to the sideline and give way to Whedon on 3rd and 7.
So we've already seen Daniels featured in the Wildcat. I suspect we'll see him throw the ball. We'll see him catch the ball as a wide receiver. Can't forget what Bill O'Brien said, but hey, look at him as our Julian Edelman.
Jonathan Grimes resets. Whedon on 3rd and 7. Goes through his reads. Nowhere to throw the football initially. Whedon's going to run it. Cuts back inside the 5 and takes a hard hit. Arakpo and Casey laying the smack on Whedon. Pick up of 5 yards, but well short of the first down.
Yeah, no one to throw the ball to. Look, everyone's covered on the back end of the end zone, on the front line of the end zone. Now I suspect that even DeAndre Hopkins could not get open. But they would want Brandon Whedon to run out of bounds and not take that kind of shot, considering there's not much behind him except for B.J. Daniels.
Hoyer's still recovering from his concussion. T.J. Yates, of course, lost for the season. Devastating ACL tear in their game last week. There's Nick Novak on for the 22-yard chip shot, and he's able to bang it through the uprights. So the Texans taking advantage of a couple of Tennessee turnovers and take a 10-0 lead. Well, the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award is presented by Nationwide. The winner will be announced at the NFL On Honors Award Show on February the 6th on CBS. The 2 nominees from this year's Texans and Titans teams, Delaney Walker and J.J. Watt. Both of them have had incredible seasons, of course, on the field, but their respective charitable work gaining recognition. And they will wait to hopefully hear their name called on February the 6th. 10-0 Houston after the fumbled kickoff by Harry Douglas. Updated score from Miami. Colts in front of the Dolphins 8-0. If both Houston and Indianapolis wins, it'll go on another week to determine who wins that AFC South Division Championship Indianapolis will take on these Titans to wrap up the season next weekend. You hear the mock cheer as McBride is able to field that kick.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Crunchwrap Sliders, 4 full-size flavors only at Taco Bell. And by New York Life, here to help you keep good going.
Along with Texans long snapper John Weeks and his wife Amanda, the Texans hosted a shopping spree for children advocates, hosting 15 foster kids and getting a little help from their teammates early this week. Hope everyone had an enjoyable holiday season. Happy New Year from Nashville. Berger play action on 1st and 10. Good coverage down the field, goes underneath. That's the tight end Anthony Fasano crossing the 25, getting close to the 27. Update time to New York and JB.
Going back home, Bart. I tell you what, Frank Gore is putting on a show with Indianapolis clinging to playoff hopes. Frank Gore is putting on a show in front of his hometown. Come on, Solly. You got to wrap him up. Frank Gore and Indianapolis Colts lead 8-0.
And we know Solly would have wrapped him up, right? Spiro and Solomon.
I tell you what, Frank Gore has broken a lot of tackles in his day. But, yeah, you got to wrap him up, just like at the rodeo.
That's a score that Houston fans are keeping close tabs on. Second and short pass by Mettenberger is complete to Harry Douglas for a first down pickup. So coming up Tuesday on CBS, it'll be a star-studded night celebrating legendary artists, including the man behind Star Wars, George Lucas. Stephen Colbert hosts the Kennedy Center Honors Tuesday, 9/8 Central, only CBS. High above Nissan Stadium, just outside downtown Nashville. Here in Week 16, Spiro Diaz on the Wilcots. J.J. Watt and the Texans off to a quick start. A couple of Tennessee turnovers. 10-0 as we hit the 2-minute mark of this first quarter. 3 tight ends for the Titans on 1st and 10 as the rookie Cobb crosses the 31. Salmon, you can feel the frustration. You walk around town here, this fan base that has been sitting on their hands for so many years. You know, the one thing that they have to hang their hat on these days is that they think they have their franchise quarterback, Marcus Mariota.
I think he has played well. When he's been in the game, he's given this franchise some hope. They believe they have their franchise quarterback in Marcus Mariota. He's got all the skill set, the talent, the arm, and really the temperament. And how about the leadership? Because the other guys on this football team, they rally around Marcus Mariota.
Bishop Sankey, the lone setback, will have his first take here on 2nd and 10. Crosses the 35, close to the 38-yard line as they run right in the direction of J.J. Watt.
Look at J.J. Watt trying to get up the field, not able to get off the block, but there's Jadeveon Clowney being able to make a play. But this Tennessee Titans team, you know, we talk about Marcus Mariota. They do need to get better in other areas, especially on the offensive line where they've given up a league-high 49 sacks. One of the reasons why Mariota is standing on the sideline, they just can't keep him healthy.
Nursing a sprained MCL in his left knee, injured the right knee earlier this season, causing him to miss a couple of games. Penalty marker thrown on 3rd and 3. Mettenberger trying to go up high. Intended for the running back Andrews, falls incomplete. And this one could very well be a hold against the Titans.
Holding. Offense number 76. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
That's the tackle Byron Bell, 50th man out of New Mexico.
Mike Mularkey told us, he says, look, we can double team J.J. Watt, but we're simply at some point in time, whether it's Whitney Merciless, whether it's Watt, some of the other pass rushers on that defensive front, we're going to have to go one-on-one. We're going to have to win. And we've got to be able to protect without drawing penalties. You can see they were unsuccessful there.
Second punt for Brett Crone. And Mumphrey will watch it sail out of bounds inside the 20. 10-0 Texans with under a minute left, and now a marker thrown on the field just as we are going to break. And this one appears to be against the Texans. 45 yards on the punt from Kern.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 34. That penalty will be administered half the distance to the goal from the end of the kick. First down.
That's A.J. Boye, the man penalized for Houston. Brandon Weeden discarded by the Cowboys in mid-November after 3 winless starts, making his first start as a Texan this afternoon. Hands off to Chris Polk on first down as the final 15 seconds will come off the clock. Weeden so far in this first quarter, 1 of 3, 8 yards, couple of miscommunication throws between he and a couple of his receivers. Nothing that we didn't expect as he makes his first start with his new team. End of the first in Nashville, 10-0 Texans on CBS. Oh, we told you earlier, Brandon Weeden is the 4th different starting quarterback for the Texans on the season. And in the NFL, generally, if you're playing your backups, you're losing. But that has not been the case as Houston has won 5 of their last 7.
Talked to Bill O'Brien, their head coach. He said, hey, we can train quarterbacks. They look for certain traits. They want you to be smart. They want you to be poised. But more importantly, you have to have a great work ethic. And they're going to design it around the quarterback.
Texans go wildcat yet again. Direct snap taken by Jonathan Grimes. So they have really gotten creative in the early going. We have seen B.J. Daniels take a couple of wildcat snaps. And now Brandon Weeden back onto the field on 3rd and 7.
Probably not fair to Brandon Weeden. He talked about it. Only had maybe 1 week of reps within this offense and with some of the players around him. And to have to put the entire game on his shoulders, thinking that he's going to go out and produce for you. Maybe if you can divide the workload between 2 quarterbacks, maybe you stand a better chance of putting points on the board.
Hopkins in motion. Weeden from the gun on 3rd and 7, slinging it and finds Hopkins for a first down catch. Forced out of bounds after a pickup of 7 as they move the chains.
Brandon Weeden talked about DeAndre Hopkins, his ball skills, likened him to Dez Bryant, who he had played with not just in Dallas but collegiately at Oklahoma State. I think that's high praise, and obviously with his first trip to the Pro Bowl, very well deserved.
Chris Polk back onto the field. Lone setback, takes a handoff on 1st and 10, taking on tacklers close to the 25. We visited with Hopkins yesterday, told us about how he got the call early Monday morning from Kevin Cooper, one of the Texans' top PR people. Cooper told him, hey, look, if we call you later, make sure you pick up the phone, because apparently DeAndre doesn't always pick up his phone. And lo and behold, a couple of hours later, got the call from Rick Smith, their GM, telling him that he's Pro Bowl bound for the first time in his career.
I remember when he was drafted, Rick Smith, their general manager, really believed that he would someday replace an Andre Johnson, that he would be one of the faces of this franchise, and boy, has he lived up to it.
And it's Grimes on the Wildcat as he runs close to the 30. And another Houston first down. Hopkins says he was just kind of walking through the mall with his sister when he got the call from Kevin Cooper. But a lot of happy feelings in the Hopkins family this week, and well-deserved. And here, just an incredible number, Sama. Just 2 players in the division going to the Pro Bowl, Watt and Hopkins.
I think it's incredible. I mean, a lot of people in Houston saying, hey, we probably want 2 more, or I should say more players than just the 2 to go to the Pro Bowl from our football team, but they're the only 2 players from their division.
Hard to believe. As that football comes loose, who's got it? A pylon at the 26, and it is Titans football. David Bass, the linebacker, able to recover for Tennessee, and Weeden struggling.
That double-A blitz, little twist, and a stunt as they loop around. Number 41, J.R. Tavi. He's able to come around, look at these stunts, comes through that gap, is able to get to Weeden. Weeden's got to protect the football, even though he was under pressure. Yeah, you're going to go down, you're going to be sacked on that play. But look, he's not protecting the ball, only holding it in one hand. The carriage of the football by the quarterback in the pocket, you have to have 2 hands on the football, not 1.
So Tavai makes the play, the rookie out of USC, who may have signed undrafted just a couple of months ago prior to the season. That is Cobb, the rookie running back. Inside the 20, trying to keep that pile going. Penalty marker flies. It's a run of 8 yards, but it looks like it's coming back.
Holding. Offense number 76. 10-yard penalty. First down.
And it's Byron Bell whistled on the penalty.
You know, J.J. Watt is wearing that club at the top of your screen. But there you see the holding right there. You could see he was going to come in and be able to make the tackle. He was tackled to the ground himself by Bell.
Injured player is Taylor Lewan, their second-year tackle. Will walk off on his own power. Former 11th overall pick back in the 2014 NFL draft. Try to get an update on him as quickly as we can. Ramon Meredith will come on in his stead, 7th-year man out of South Carolina. Former free agent acquisition from Cincinnati prior to last season. 1st and 20 after the penalty. Mettenberger with Watt right in his face. Appeared as though Watt got a fingertip on the football. And boy, something about Zach Mettenberger that brings out the best in J.J. Watt.
How about only using a tight end to block him? Anthony Fasano, who was trying to get loose to catch this ball, but got to do a better job than blocking here. That's just kind of holding him. He's like a turnstile. He just kind of turned with him as J.J. Watt got into the face of Zach Mettenberger, who was able to knock that past him.
14.5 sacks for Watt in 9 career games against Tennessee. Mettenberger from the gun on 2nd and 20. Titans keep it on the ground. This is Cobb. Inches close to the 30-yard line. It's a pickup of 4. It's amazing his production, Solomon, against the Titans. Multiple sacks in 6 of the last 7 meetings for Watt against this Tennessee team.
Well, Mettenberger is that long windup, and there's no doubt he's got to get the ball out faster. He's got to develop a much faster and quicker tempo before the pass rush can get on him, but their inability to run the football hasn't helped either.
Where does Mettenberger go here on 3rd and 16? Texans shown blitz. Under pressure, Mettenberger's pass will sail incomplete. Watt was coming. Mettenberger felt him. And on 4th and 16, Brett Kern, the punter, will come onto the field, and Ryan Suckup will attempt a long field goal.
Watch J.J. Watt. He's starting to get close. They're starting to get hits and put Zach Mettenberger on the ground. Starting to get his jersey dirty, forcing the high throw over the head of his intended receiver.
Kern is the holder. Bo Brinkley is the snapper. And this will be a 50-yard attempt from Ryan Suckup, the 7th-year man out of South Carolina. Now flag thrown.
Offense, 12 players in formation. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Was unacceptable for Tennessee. You see the illegal substitution. Joe Looney, the man penalized, and that will get the attention of Mike Mularkey. And that enough to kind of push them out of field goal range. So instead of attempting a field goal, Brett Kern will punt. And that has been the kind of season it's been for the Titans.
And now the Texans are trying to make sure they have 11 men on the field.
Solomon, you just wonder how something like that happens in week 16 of the season. Kern will try to handle this inside the Houston 10. Sail out of bounds and takes a Tennessee bounce. So Brandon Whedon will be pinned deep inside his own territory after a perfect 32-yard punt. Oh, look at what Whedon and B.J. Daniels have done. Hard to believe these are the Texans' 2 quarterbacks, a team that is 1 win away from moving a little bit closer to a division championship, but Dotsey's got very creative with the playbook.
Trying to share the workload between 2 quarterbacks that don't really know the offense. Texans'
longest play till this point, 8 yards. A pass to Nate Washington on 1st down and keep it on the ground. This is Alfred Blue. Sam, a lot of people have to be wondering about, maybe if the play calling has kind of been a deterrent for Whedon. You maybe want to give him a chance to get his feet under him and throw, but you have him running off and onto the field with these wildcat formations. What's your response to that?
Why keep him on the field when he doesn't know the offense? You give him a package to run. You give him a limited amount of the offense to run, and he can run it. And then you maybe throw a curveball at him with B.J. Daniels doing the wildcat, doing some other things differently, things that Brandon Whedon can't do.
Whedon throwing from his end zone on 2nd and 8. Fires near side, completes to Hopkins, who makes his second catch of the season. Whedon started the season with the Cowboys, came on in relief, made 3 starts after Tony Romo went down, lost all 3 of those games between weeks 3 and 5, cut by Dallas. Was very candid with Jason Garrett, told him he disagreed with the move, felt like he played well enough to win a couple of those games at least. But so here he is now trying to take that next step in his career as a member of the Texans. Now pass enough to move the chains. So 1st and 10. Here's Blue. Tackled in the backfield at the 15-yard line by Jarrell Casey. Well, over the years, 60 Minutes has reported a lot of mob stories. Watch some of the most memorable ones on a special edition of 60 Minutes tonight, only CBS. 9:43 to play, Nissan Stadium, just outside downtown Nashville. Spiro Dita, Solomon Wilcots, 10-0 Texans. Already 3 turnovers in this game, a couple by Tennessee. Haven't seen much offense from either team. Blue with a minimal pickup on 2nd down, gets to the 20. Well, here are the clinching scenarios for Houston. A win or a tie by the Texans in this game, coupled with a Colts loss in Miami, would give the AFC South crown to Houston for the first time since 2012.
And what did J.J. Watt and Bill O'Brien tell us? That, hey, we had to come out today and get off to a fast start. They've done that by forcing a couple of turnovers, 2 forced fumbles to put 10 points on the board.
And right now the Colts up 8-0 as they play in Miami. Leading from the gun on 3rd and 6. Looking left, throwing left, and completes. It's Jalen Strong, the rookie, who had the go-ahead touchdown that turned out to be the game winner last week. 9 yards and another first down.
And you can tell Brandon Wheaton is getting comfortable, but this ball's got to come out sooner, faster. That ball should have hit him Strong when he got to maybe the top of the numbers. He was nearly to the sideline before the ball got over there. And it just goes to show you that Brandon Whedon's reaction time within the offense maybe not quite where it will be when he has more repetitions.
Strong entered the day with only 6 catches on the season. Already has a couple here for 18 yards. 1st and 10 from just outside the 30. Texans call another run play. This is Blue with that Tennessee run defense able to hold here early on. The safety, Michael Griffin, who's been the top tackling safety in franchise history on the tackle.
And back to the Houston Texans offensively. Since they lost Arian Foster, the run game really has struggled. They're averaging 3.6 yards per rush attempt, 31st in the National Football League. That's 2nd worst. So it really does, I think, put more of an onus and emphasis on the quarterbacks to have to manufacture offense when you can't run the ball with great consistency.
See their average yards per rush today under 3 yards per take. And on 2nd and 10, that pass from Wheaton a little bit short. Solomon, you bring up a great point. People forget about Arian Foster, and that is what adds another layer of improbability. You know, a guy who had been the heart and soul of this offense, you lose him. You thought you really had hit rock bottom. And then suddenly you turn around and go on this streak that they've been on, winning 5 of 7.
Despite having to shuffle in a lot of different quarterbacks. It's just amazing. We talked to Bill O'Brien about it. He said, look, over the last 2 years, we've had 9 different quarterbacks play for us. I just think that's phenomenal when you think about they're on the brink of winning the division title.
Akeem Hunt onto the field, the rookie out of Purdue. He flanks Whedon on 3rd and 10. Whedon nowhere to throw the football, just throws it at the feet of Hunt. And on 4th down, Houston will punt.
Good play by the Tennessee Titans defense to get a stop there and try to get good field position for their offense. Zach Mettenberger has to get something going for the Titans offensively and see if they can get some help from Harry Douglas on special teams.
Douglas fumbling the kick a couple of minutes ago, now signals fair catch. And now he's going to play it from just inside the 20. 49 yards on the punt and a 2-yard return as Mettenberger comes back onto the field next.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Volkswagen. And by Dirty Grandpa. In theaters January 22nd.
Well, as things currently sit, Tennessee holds the #1 overall pick of the 2016 draft. Haven't picked one overall since taking Earl Campbell back in 1978. Also had the top pick back in 1973, taking John Matuzak, the defensive end, who played only one season with the Oilers. On 1st and 10, that's Delaney Walker on the catch, and Kareem Jackson, the cornerback, making the tackle. Well, here's what the draft order looks like here where we sit, Sam, in week number 16.
In each of the last 5 years, they've used the first-round pick on an offensive player, so they should have at least more firepower on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they've addressed the defensive needs in free agency, and so it's going to be an interesting offseason for the Tennessee Titans in terms of how they're going to continue to build this football team.
Now, because of that, this offense is just so young and inexperienced as Walker continues to be the catalyst, catching that short pass. Demps on the tackle. Back to New York in an update. Here's JB.
Miami trying to play spoiler, Spiro.
Ryan Tannehill takes the team on an 11-play, 69-yard drive, capped off by a 1-yard pass run by Lamar Miller. 2-point conversion is no good, and he still leads 8-6.
Spiro and Solomon.
All right, that's exactly what the Texans want to see. A win or a tie by Houston combined with an Indianapolis loss in that game would give the division to the Texans here in week 16. 3rd and 6, Mettenberger from the shotgun. Good pass protection, but another errant pass. Mettenberger hearing the groans as he comes to the sideline yet again. 4th straight punt by the Titans.
Needed better anticipation from Zach Mettenberger on that play. Dorial Green-Beckham was coming open on the play, and so was his tight end Delaney Walker. He missed on both guys. In fact, I couldn't tell who that pass was intended to go to.
Well, the other thing, you watch Mettenberger and his body language doesn't represent a guy who appears to have much confidence. Not sure if that is because of what he has around him, but whatever the case, they continue to struggle. This is Keith Mumphrey covering a lot of real estate. Runs out of bounds as he crosses the 30. It's a return of 18 yards as Mettenberger still looking for answers down 10. Week 16 continues later today on Fox. Then tonight, Sunday Night Football on NBC. And tune in tomorrow, Monday Night Football on ESPN. It'll be a good one, Bengals and the Broncos, as we welcome you back to Nashville. 5:30 to play. Marcus Mariota in street clothes today, out with that left MCL sprain in his knee. Brandon Whedon back onto the field. This is 1st and 10 from just inside the 35. Whedon has time. He's going to take a shot. Looking for Hopkins down the field, and he's got him! Hopkins with a brilliant over-the-shoulder catch, beating Cody Sensabaugh in coverage.
It's just a phenomenal play. It's got to go down the field here, up top, and he's working against Cody Sensabaugh. You saw the stutter step, the move, and look at this ball. Thrown very well, and this is what Brandon Whedon gives you. Does got a big-time arm. He can drop it in over the top, and just love the way DeAndre Hopkins was able to set up Cody Sensabaugh. He kind of had that delay at the end, and then there's the extension. He had that back hand where he was able to push off and get separation.
44 yards on the catch, 100th reception on the season for Hopkins. Alfred Blue out of the backfield makes the catch. David Bass on the tackle, and Bill O'Brien said, you watch Whedon throw the football, and it's obvious to see why Cleveland drafted him in the first round. He throws a very pure deep pass, as we saw there.
Highly catchable ball. You can see he was able to drop it right over the top, and now Whedon comes off. Here comes B.J. Daniels for the Wildcats.
Daniels has had a busy first half so far. Takes the shotgun snap, hands off to Blue, gets downhill inside the 10. Tackled by Bass after a nice run of 7 to get Houston the first down.
And now you can see what George Gottsley's thinking. As you can see, he calls Whedon back, who was getting ready to run out on the field. But they're using both quarterbacks interchangeably, given the package that they want to run to try to keep this defense off balance, and they are able to manufacture some offense.
Such a unique way to run an offense with two quarterbacks being run in and out. And right now, Tennessee's defense playing on its heels. 1st and goal inside the 10. Daniels handing off to Akeem Hunt, who was barely able to get back to the line of scrimmage. You saw Whedon on the sideline. He's got to be thinking, boy, complete that long pass. Keep me in, coach.
I don't know that there's any room to complain. I mean, he understands the limitations. And I like what he had to say when he said, hey, you don't have to score 50 points playing with this defense. He knows that he has to manage the game in the areas where he's allowed to play.
3 wide receivers. Looked like Daniels and Hunt ran into each other. Daniels somehow is able to get the pass out. Penalty flag thrown right at the end of the play in the vicinity of the catch by Hunt. And this one is coming back.
Pass interference. Offense number 84 was downfield blocking. It's a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Remains 2nd down.
That's the tight end Ryan Griffin on the penalty.
Now, why was Ryan Griffin blocking down the field? The reason why is because it was supposed to be a run play. And so he's going to go and he's going to block because he's expecting the quarterback. You can see there he is circled right there. This is supposed to be a run play. He's blocking. And then the play is a bust, and then Daniels ends up throwing the ball, and that's where the infraction occurred. So Ryan Griffin was just doing as he was instructed to play because he was expecting the quarterback to keep it and run it himself.
Tennessee a little bit disorganized defensively, so they have to burn a timeout here with 3:12 to play, 2nd quarter. And Houston trying to build on a 10-0 lead. And look at that discrepancy in total yards in this 2nd quarter alone.
Well, I think part of that is the fact that Zach Mettenberger is struggling. And then, of course, we said this Romeo Crennel-led defense with J.J. Watt, Brian Cushing, Jadeveon Clowney, and Jonathan Joseph. They're playing at a high level.
Jonathan Grimes flanking Whedon on 2nd and goal from the 19 after the penalty. Whedon fires far side. Low pass. What a catch by Hopkins inside the 10. As they will spot it at the Tennessee 7. It's a pickup of a dozen.
Now watch, this ball's thrown what we call low and outside. And Hopkins comes down to get it. When he came out of the break, that ball was so far away from him, but he was able to work his way back, get down on the ground to get underneath that ball to make his 101st reception on the season. Incredible year.
4th in both catches and receiving yards in what has turned out to be his first Pro Bowl season. 3rd and goal. Whedon looking end zone all day to throw the football. Good coverage down the field. Whedon's going to run for it. Lunges into the end zone for the Houston touchdown.
Maybe Brandon Wheaton's going to get some of those read option plays now, right? He's proven that he can make plays with his legs. Everyone was covered in the end zone, and he just makes a heads-up play. Look, he comes to his left, and watch him work all the way across the field back to his right. Now look, everyone's plastered and covered in the end zone, and they're not paying attention to Brandon Whedon. He's not expected to be a run threat. However, when given the opportunity, he just showed you right there, he could make it happen.
First career rushing touchdown from Brandon Whedon, the 4th-year man out of Oklahoma State. Threw for a touchdown early in the 4th quarter last week to get them the victory. And now Nick Novak on for the extra point. And once again, it is awfully quiet here in Nashville. 17-0 Texans. Late stages of this 2nd quarter. First, a 44-yard strike. Whedon to Hopkins. And then Whedon able to run it in from 7 yards out.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Macy's. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Well, Titans fans have seen a lot of these kinds of halves as you see Houston well represented here in Nashville. 17-0 Texans in front. We're just over 2 minutes to play before halftime. 6 plays, 65 yards on the touchdown drive, led by Brandon Whedon, who gets his first rushing touchdown in his career. Spiro Dita, Salman Wilcox, rest of our CBS crew from Nissan Stadium in Nashville. Well, Salman, you look at the first half possessions, last 5 for Tennessee, not much to talk about.
Yeah, very little continuity in terms of the offense and their ability to run it or throw it or protect Zach Mettenberger. So the offensive lines had their struggles. Mettenberger's had his struggle in terms of getting the ball out in a timely manner and then being accurate with throwing the football, as we saw in the last third down play where I thought Dorial Green-Beckham was open. I thought his tight end, Delaney Walker, was also open, but he missed them both.
Mettenberger 9 of 14 in the first half. Here he is on 1st and 10, takes a hard hit right on the throw. What a job by Mettenberger, completes to the tight end Anthony Fasano, a 12-yard pickup in the first down.
Yeah, man, take a look. He's got to get hit again right there. Simon was able to come in and lay a lick on Mettenberger.
First catch for Fasano, sets up a 1st and 10. Bullet pass nearly intercepted off the hands of the safety, Andre Howe, who has 3 picks on the season. Incompletion will set up a 2nd and 10.
You know, the Texans, as you take a look on this throw here, is nearly intercepted, as you said, by Andre Howe. They believe Mettenberger, he tends to wait. He'll hold the ball because he trusts that strong arm of his so well, but his tendency to hold on to it allows the pass rush to get home. It also allows the defensive backs to get a read on where he wants to go with the ball.
Could be the final play before the 2-minute warning. That pass is incomplete. Fasano, right as he was turning with the football, lost it and jarred loose by Andre Howe. So nice back-to-back plays by the Texan safety.
And his willingness to hold on to the ball, I think it plays into the hands of the defense. There are times when he'll pass up on the check down running back or maybe an easier throw where he really has to start taking those. And when we talk about getting the ball out faster, that means take what the defense gives you as opposed to trying to hold on to it and take the longer pass route down the field. While trying to push it down the field, you're allowing that defense to get right on top of it.
3rd and 10, here's Mettenberger. From the gun, fires and completes. Right around the 45-yard line, it's Harry Douglas on the 1st down catch. So they pick up 13 yards and will have a 1st down when we come back to Nashville on CBS. See Mettenberger's numbers in his last 10 attempts, 4 of 10 for just 29 yards. 1st and 10 here from just inside their own 45-yard line. His pass a little bit too low and incomplete. Salman, what are you seeing from Mettenberger the last couple of minutes?
Yeah, on that last 13-yard completion to Harry Douglas, go ahead and roll it here. We're going to show you Anthony Fasano coming open. Look, immediately. Stop it right there. See, he's open right there. So the ball can come out much sooner and you can get the completion. He'll catch and run it for a 1st down if you take that selection. Instead, he looks further down the field. He holds the ball maybe a little too long instead of taking what the defense is giving him.
Mettenberger 11 of 19 for the half, just 64 yards. That pass intended for the tight end Walker is incomplete. Pass defensed by the cornerback Kareem Jackson. Reminder coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. We'll send you to New York. JB and the guys standing by. They'll get you all the latest NFL scores and highlights, plus analysis on the first half between these two teams. It's all next on the Verizon Halftime Report. Titans have told us that Kendall Wright, one of their starting wide receivers, has a knee injury. His return is questionable. Also, Taylor Lewan being looked at for a potential concussion. Right now going through the protocol, his return is questionable. Mettenberger on 3rd and 10, unable to find Douglas. Excellent play by Jonathan Joseph, who's had a Pro Bowl type season.
We've seen Andre Howe knock down 2 passes from Zach Mettenberger. We've seen Kareem Jackson knock down 1. And now on this play, and you can see Jonathan Joseph able to undercut. And this is because the ball's not coming out fast enough. The defensive backs, they can break on the ball. They still have time to close on it. And so if Zach Mettenberger is going to start getting some completions, the ball's got to come out sooner with greater anticipation.
What a season Joseph has had. Former Pro Bowl player a couple of times in his career. His 2nd team All-Pro back in 2011. 46-yard punt from Mumphrey and a 4-yard return after the Kern punt. So Mettenberger's first half, this is what Salman's been talking about.
Take a look at the time clock. Ball's got to come out under 2.5 seconds there. He holds it for 4 seconds and probably should have expected to be sacked. Still, ball's not out yet. still not out yet. Well, over 5 seconds holding on to the football. So the last time he played against this Texans team, he was sacked 7 times. You can see today, 21 dropbacks is yet to be productive.
And that basically is the only real surprise, that he hasn't been sacked yet in his first half. 1st and 10. Wheaton's pass is deflected off the hands of the safety, Damian Stafford, who made the start last week for Searcy, who was out in that game with a hamstring.
Pass should have been intercepted. Right off the hands of Stafford. He had 2 hands on it. Did a great job of reading Brandon Wheaton and jumping the passing lane. All he had to do was make the catch.
This is a Tennessee defense that has allowed 30-plus points in their last 3 games. 17-0 Houston with 90 seconds left in the half. 2nd and 10. This is Jonathan Grimes, the 3rd-year runner out of William and Mary. And another flag thrown behind the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense number 79. Half the distance to the goal. 2nd down.
That's Brandon Brooks, the 4th-year guard and former 3rd-round pick. There's Bill O'Brien, 2nd-year Houston head coach. Doesn't wear the look of a coach whose team is in front 17-0.
No, because he wants more. He doesn't like the penalties deep in his own territory. He knows that if he gets a win today, he will clinch that division title and 4th seed in the playoffs.
You see the updated score for Miami. Colts in front of the Dolphins 15-6. $1:20 to play. And Simon, you think of what this team has been through. As we get a timeout, we'll get into Bill O'Brien. We'll step aside. $1:21 left before halftime. 17-0 Texans. Play was run on a 3rd and 12. Wheaton trying to throw it. It was deflected by Brian Arakpo. As we take another look.
Arakpo coming off right in his face. Rejects it. Sending it back to Brandon Wheaton. They're lucky to get out of there without anything disastrous happening for Bill O'Brien's team. Right now they've been in complete control to move forward the turnover.
Shane Luckler on the punt. Harry Douglas able to elude the initial tackle. Douglas inside Houston territory, runs out of bounds inside the 42. 18 yards on the return by Douglas. Well, can Mettenberger make anything happen here with 66 seconds to play before the end of the half? Again, the Verizon halftime report comes your way next. JB, Tony, Bart Boomer, and Coach Cowher standing by from our CBS studios in New York on the Verizon halftime report.
They really don't have a wide receiver in this offense that can stretch the field, that can lift the top off coverage, take advantage of that strong arm of Zach Mettenberger.
Keep in mind, Kendall Wright not on the field and still are looking at his knee. And his return at this point is questionable. 1st and 10. Mettenberger throwing down the field, and that one not even close. Harry Douglas was the intended receiver.
Maybe it's not a question as much of arm strength as it is with accuracy, because that one sailed high. He looked like he had time in the pocket to step up. He wasn't close to Harry Douglas. Look, that's a clean pocket there. And take a look. There's room to drop that in over the top to Harry Douglas, but it sailed well beyond his intended target.
Mettenberger, a former 6th-round pick out of LSU, 0-8 all-time in his career as a starter. Mettenberger on 2nd and 10, and that pass is incomplete. And Salmon, these aren't even close.
No, and he was under pressure. Couldn't tell if J.J. Watt, as you can see, coming off the left side. Yeah, no, he was able to get that ball off cleanly. Maybe it's tipped at the line, but it sure appeared as though someone had deflected the ball, because I just can imagine that that ball would be thrown that poorly.
Mettenberger has been incomplete on 8 of his last 9 passes, including 5 straight. 3rd and 10. Mettenberger steps up in the pocket. Low pass, incomplete. And that time it got to the hands of the intended receiver, Delaney Walker. And on 4th down and 10, Mike Mularkey sends out his punt team again.
This is disappointing because when Mettenberger does deliver one to Delaney Walker, their leading receiver, look, he's got to make that catch, but he doesn't. Puts it on the ground. Zach Mettenberger's trying to do everything he can. Trying to put it all together in terms of bringing some consistency to the table, but he's struggled so far today.
6th straight punt for the Titans. Brett Kern, midfield punter again, trying to pin Houston back deep. Good catch signaled by Mumphrey after the 29-yard punt by Kern. Let's get you the wisdom of Solomon here in Week 16.
Take a look at some teams who made the playoffs with a 500 record or a losing record. The 85 Cleveland Browns in 2008. San Diego Chargers won the AFC West with an 8-8 record. In Seattle 2010 with a 7-9 record, won a division title. The Broncos in 2011 went 8-8, won the AFC West. And then last year, the Carolina Panthers go 7-8-1 to win their 2nd straight NFC South division title. Was able to beat Arizona in the wild card game, and now the Houston Texans trying to get in with a better record than 500. They can probably get in with a 9-7. If they win today, they'll qualify with an 8-7 record.
Would be their 3rd division title since 2011, first postseason berth since 2012. Texans have all 3 timeouts left, but it appears as though Bill O'Brien will not force anything here, as it looks like their center Ben Jones is hurt.
Like he's going to try to tough it out. The big guys have been known to do.
Jones has been one of their more durable players on the offensive line. You see that left leg get caught underneath the defender. As the final seconds will come off the clock, Jones will slowly limp into the Houston locker room. And the Texans will take a 17-0 lead into halftime. That's the end of the first half from Nashville. We'll be back with the Verizon Halftime Report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
It's a childhood dream to be able to play in the Super Bowl. When you're 10 years old, you think you're either going to make the catch or do something spectacular in the game to win a football game. We came on the field and said, you know what, this is the last play of the game. If we stop him, we win the Super Bowl. My hand wrapped him up and I caught his leg. He fell down. Unless he was 9 feet tall, I knew we were going to win the game.
Jones made the tackle at the 1-yard line to preserve Super Bowl 34.
So many great Super Bowl memories, and our countdown clock to Super Bowl 50 up in the Bay Area continues. Just over a month and 11 days away as we welcome you back to Nissan Stadium in Nashville. 17-0 Texans as we get ready for the start of the 3rd quarter. And a reminder, you can follow your favorite team all season long. Just visit itunes.com/NFL as we welcome you back to the NFL on CBS. Inside our booth, Spiro Dedes and Solomon Wilcots with you. For Tennessee, you expected it to be a struggle. Zach Mettenberger making his 3rd start of the season, but just 84 yards of total offense in the first half. What can they do to get anything going?
Well, I think it really starts with the Houston Texans in terms of what they need to do. They've been playing 2 quarterbacks in this game, both Brandon Whedon and B.J. Daniels. And I think they got to come up with some kind of surprise gadget to get him going. And then if you're the Tennessee Titans, Zach Mettenberger has to do a better job with the quick passing game and take the first option that the defense is given.
Brandon Whedon, first start as a Houston Texan, and the Texans will have the football to begin this second half. We've set the table for you for the Texans. A win today or a tie combined with a victory, or I should say a loss by Indianapolis in Miami, would give the Houston Texans the AFC South Division title. And at last check, it was the Colts in front of the Dolphins 15-6. We'll keep you updated on that game as the second half goes on. Weren't many first half highlights, but we'll show you some of the key plays. Early turnover by Tennessee.
Houston Texans said they needed to get off to a fast start. Boy, were they able to do so, forcing fumbles on special teams and on defense to jump out to that 10-0 lead. And then Brandon Whedon hooking up with DeAndre Hopkins over Cody Sensabaugh. And then how about Brandon Wheaton using his legs to get it in? That's not something we had expected from Brandon Wheaton, but so far he's off to a good start. So are the Houston Texans.
On 1st and 10, play action from Wheaton. We'll see what kind of adjustments they made during the halftime as he fires and completes to Nate Washington, 21 yards and a Houston first down. Take a look at the game summary, 2 quarters complete, and Wheaton's numbers in that first half.
Well, the defense and special teams being able to get those turnovers really made it easy for Brandon Wheaton in this football game. He knows he doesn't have to do too much. He told us even yesterday when we spoke to him, he said, you don't have to score 50 points to win with the defense we're playing with.
Brian Hoyer's still in the concussion protocol. They hope that he'll be back next week. TJ Yates, ACL tear last week, so that has given way to Brandon Wheaton, who completes a second straight pass that is caught by DeAndre Hopkins, where you saw the late marker come in at the end of the play. 12 yards on the reception. Here's the call.
Holding. Defense number 24 prior to the pass. That penalty will be declined. The result of the play, first down.
It's Cody Sensabaugh who allowed that big 44-yard reception to Hopkins back in the first half.
Watch, and within the 5 yards, you can get your hands on it, but right there, see, you got to let go of him. Fishers thought he was hanging on to Hopkins well beyond that 5-yard boundary area where the cornerbacks are allowed to obstruct the receiver.
So the ball marked inside Tennessee territory after the penalty. 1st and 10. Here is Blue finding the edge inside the 45 and close to the 41. Always tough for a guy like Brandon Wheaton, for a quarterback. You join the team and just a couple of weeks into your new experience, you have to kind of pick up the slack and become the starter. And we asked him how tough that is, and he says he's tried to spend as much time around his teammates, his offensive linemen, as he can to try to get comfortable with this group, Solomon, and build whatever chemistry you can.
Trying to learn terminology, formations, and just really trying to get used to the environment. Said he had a lot of homework on Christmas.
2nd and 3. Wheaton play action. Fakes the handoff to Blue and completes. That's the tight end, C.J. Fedorowicz. They pick up 6 and a first down. He says the other critical thing that he's had to do is have dinner with his offensive lineman every Thursday. Told us about drinking a beer with the guys and getting comfortable with them. He said that they went through about $1,000 worth of appetizers at dinner the other night.
At one of your favorite restaurants, I do recall. But
Roots
yeah.
Chris?
Hey, 54's the mic.
He says he watched those guys put down food. It was incredible. It's a little social occasion to try to get comfortable with his new teammates. And the one thing about Wheaton is Blue picks up a minimal gain wherever he's been, even in Dallas, Salma, where he struggled 0-3 in his 3 starts this year. He's a very likable guy, and everyone we spoke to has taken to him very quickly here.
It's one of the things they liked about him. He's got that big-time arm that we saw in that toss to DeAndre Hopkins in the second quarter of our game. But, you know, he said at some point, though, you have to just go out and play. You got to be able to react and just rely on your instincts. And I think we've seen some of that in today's game.
Wheaton from the gun. This is 2nd and 8. Completes Hopkins. And now those two starting to get comfortable with each other. 17 yards and another first down as Hopkins now going to work on Sensabaugh.
Yeah, Sensabaugh's got to be able to stay in front. Got to be able to see vision on the receiver as well as the quarterback. And you can see right now, Brandon Wheaton, DeAndre Hopkins, they're starting to get into rhythm. He's starting to look to Hopkins to win the one-on-one battles, and Hopkins has done it all season long.
And he has eclipsed the 1,400 receiving yards mark now in the season. Only the 2nd man in franchise history to accomplish that feat. And of course, Andre Johnson the other. 1st and 10. That pass for Hopkins in the back of the end zone is incomplete, and a late flag in. And they are going right at Cody Sensabaugh.
DeAndre Hopkins, wow, he's just been a quiet assassin. He's starting to take Sensabaugh apart, and they're going after him. And Wheaton's giving him a chance to make plays.
There is no foul for defensive pass interference. It's an incomplete pass. 2nd down.
It's a good no call. I like the fact when the officials initially, maybe they saw something, they huddled up, talked about it, said, you know what, no, it was a good play. I agree.
There were some whispers about Hopkins' production dipping a bit. Couldn't possibly maintain the pace that he was on earlier in the season. But this is his 11th 100-yard receiving game of the season, as he also moves over 100 catches on the year. 2nd and 10, another chance. Hopkins climbing the ladder for the Houston touchdown. They go right back to that same spot and connect for a 15-yard scoring strike.
I would think that you might want to give Cody Sensabaugh some help. He's trying, he's fighting, he's working. He's playing blind with his back to the quarterback, gets his head around. But look, you can see Hopkins wins the rebound. Great positioning, still able to high point the football, come down with it, much to a greater degree than Cody Sensabaugh.
19th career touchdown catch for Hopkins, 11th of the season. As Brandon Whedon with by far his best possession as a Texans quarterback. Point after from Nick Novak. And the Texans now pouring it on 24-0 early stages of this 3rd quarter. Another day at the office for DeAndre Hopkins. 8-play, 80-yard drive, just over 3 minutes. 15-yard touchdown pass from Whedon to Hopkins, who builds on his franchise record total of now 11 touchdown catches on the season. Hopkins on that possession alone, 3 catches, 45 yards, and a touchdown. Trey McBride takes a knee, and Mettenberger and company will have it from the 20 when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Honda. Hurry in for great deals during Happy Honda Days.
Happy holidays from Nashville, Tennessee. Update from the Tennessee sideline. Both Luwan and Wright are done for the day. Luwan a concussion and Wright out with a knee injury. Wright was just coming back after missing the last 2 with a rib injury. That's Harry Douglas on the catch at the 35-yard line. Boy, you look at this Tennessee franchise, and for so many years they had stability. Jeff Fisher, their head coach for a long time. Bud Adams, their longtime owner. Since the passing of Adams in 2013, we've seen 3 different changes in the ownership structure, and suddenly 3 different head coaches since that point as well.
Yeah, and if you believe that Marcus Mariota is the right choice, that he is the future franchise quarterback, then you've got to build it around him. And that means you have to have consistency in the environment and the coaching staff around him.
On 1st and 10, they'll keep it on the ground here. And David Cobb is tackled just shy of the 40. And as you said yesterday, continuity is so critical for this franchise at this point.
I'm going to give you some organizations that have had it, and they continue to operate in that way in terms of building around the quarterback. I think the coaching staff, organizations like Pittsburgh, Green Bay, New England, the New York Giants, they've been patient even through down periods. And there are a couple of teams that recently, I think, have become consistent winners because they maintain continuity. Cincinnati, Arizona. How about the Carolina Panthers?
This is 2nd and 6. And a run play called as Cobb trying to show what he can do. Summit, it's hard to have consistency when there's instability at the top. As initially, it was Susie Adams-Smith, Bud's daughter, assuming the controlling interest. Then the family decided that it would be Amy Adams-Strunk, Bud's other daughter. She now has assumed controlling interest of the franchise. And until they figure that out, it's hard to kind of make the other decisions that you need to make as a franchise and move forward.
Doesn't matter about the general manager. I think the coaches and all those things, you have to have some continuity and consistency in how you're building your football team.
That's Dorial Green Beckham. First time we've called his number today. 14 yards and a first down, but a marker thrown.
Pass interference, offense number 16. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Remains 3rd down.
Penalty on Trey McBride, the rookie wide receiver and former 7th-round pick. Well, Jeff Fisher was the head coach here for parts of 17 years, but since his departure, it has been a revolving door at that top position.
And I think the reason why you want consistency in terms of the coaching staff, when we talk about the quarterback, you bring in a new coaching staff, now you have a whole nother system for the young quarterback, Marcus Mariota, that he'll have to learn. You can arrest his development, you'll set back his growth and his ability to improve as a football player.
Here's Mettenberger on 3rd and 13, completes underneath, and then it's ripped away. Eddie Pleasant, the safety, ripped the football away from Antonio Andrews, but the play was whistled dead. And the Titans will retain possession.
And how about that play by Eddie Pleasant?
On the field is an interception and down by contact.
How about
First
that?
down.
I mean, that was just an excellent tackle. This is why this team comes up with turnovers. They're physical at the point of attack. They're able to get aggressive. We talked about not allowing yards after contact. Look, he rips and takes this ball out before Andrews hits the ground. But see, he's going to be down by contact right there. It was just an incredible play by Eddie Pleasant. If you are the aggressor, you play with tenacity, good things happen for you on defense.
So the call on the field, interception by Pleasant, down by contact, as the Titans turn it over for the 3rd time this afternoon.
Wow, that's amazing. And this is a problem with this Tennessee Titans team. You know, they played hard for the most part all season long. But when things like this continue to happen, we saw it happen last week against the Patriots, where just these turnovers at the beginning of games, it would just plague them. And that's why you end up in a game with a lopsided score.
There was Andrews who fumbled on their first possession. And now he is responsible for a couple of turnovers. Here's Whedon again, 1st and 10, throwing far side for Washington. And it's incomplete. Coverage on the play by Parrish Cox.
As we take a look at this Tennessee Titans defense, I think also, you know, they brought in a 3-4 defense. Remember, Ray Horton came here 1 year ago. Now Dick LeBeau is here. It's taking them some time to be able to acquire the pieces that really fit in a 3-4 scheme. You bring in, again, a new coaching staff. That coaching staff bring in a new system, new scheme, maybe with a 4-3 defense, where now you're having to change over those players all over again. And so when you make changes, make sure you don't have to start from scratch.
Well, you see Hopkins has outgained the entire Tennessee offense till this point, as Alfred Blue is buried. And, you know, Simon, this Tennessee defense, as we touched on earlier, early part of the season was one of the surprise defenses in the entire NFL. And considering or waiting to see what they do in terms of coaching on that side of the football, you certainly want to keep that nucleus and system in place.
Yeah, you talk about players being assets to organization. I think this man, Dick LeBeau, I think he's an asset to the Tennessee Titans. They can continue to build this football team around the system, and this 3-4 defense that he has brought in at times, they played at a very high level.
3rd and 8. Whedon completes. That's the tight end, Ryan Griffin. Brought down right at the 20. What an addition he's been to this offense, as he picks up a dozen and another Houston 1st down.
Now this defense that we just talked about need to come up with some stops. They need to start creating some turnovers. They came in today as a defense that needed to improve on 3rd down. And you can see they're allowing the Texans to make plays, and now we got B.J. Daniels back in the ball game for Houston.
Daniels taking a number of snaps in the 1st half as they give it to Blue, who inches close to the 15-yard line, and Whedon will come back onto the field.
Just get the sense you're going to see something more than that wildcat offense by B.J. Daniels before it's all said and done. You have to wonder, even when Hoyer comes back, he is expected to possibly play next week. Will they continue to use B.J. Daniels like what we've seen today?
And now Whedon will line up at the bottom of your picture.
There's some confusion with the offensive line.
Jonathan Grimes will take the direct snap on 2nd and 7. Grimes trying to break the tackle, lunges inside the 15, close to the 13-yard line. It's the 2nd direct snap that he's taken in this game, tackled on the play by Griffin.
And we should give the Titans defense some credit. They've handled these exotic looks offensively by the Houston Texans, whether it's the Wildcat or whatever it is they're doing with B.J. Daniels, and in that case with Jonathan Grimes, the Titans defenses, they've been able to line up, and they've been able to defend very well.
Saw that graphic. No team has run the Wildcat more than this Houston team. Where do they go here on 3rd and 5? Wheaton throwing end zone. It is caught. Nate Washington for the Texans touchdown. Back on his own home turf. 13 yards on the reception as he beats B.W. Webb for 6.
Webb is in good position. He just doesn't turn around fast enough or soon enough to locate and play the football. And look at Washington. He goes up to high pointing with his hands, but Webb never turned around, never found the football. See, he's playing blind. Put himself at a disadvantage on the play. And about Whedon, he just gave his receiver Washington an opportunity at 50-50 ball. 50% chance for him to come down with it. 50% chance that that pass could fall to the ground as an incomplete pass.
4th touchdown catch of the season for Washington, who had a stellar 6-year one here with the Titans. Doing it to his old team as Houston with 17 points off of 3 Tennessee turnovers. Well, the 2nd annual Art Rooney Sportsmanship Award honors NFL players who exemplify outstanding sportsmanship on the field. Jason McCourty from the Titans selected as a finalist for this year's award. The winner will be announced at the NFL Honors Award Show on February the 6th on CBS. McCourty, done for the season, has been out since November. A couple of groin injuries. And they had to shut him down, and what a loss he's been for this Tennessee secondary. The long kick is fielded by McBride, and another chance for Mettenberger. He'll start from the 20 when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Cialis and by Domino's. Order online at Domino's.com.
Nice little outdoor skating rink located in the Walk of Fame in downtown Nashville, opened in December. And Nashville will be hosting the 2016 NHL All-Star Game coming up in January. 31-0 Texans in front as David Cobb is brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Coming up tonight on a new undercover boss, a company known for sweet treats has a boss who can make things sour. New undercover boss tonight after 60 minutes, only CBS. Oh, it has been all J.J. Watt and this Houston defense. Salmon, they have barely had to break a sweat at this point. As the injured Titan is Byron Bell, their starting tackle.
J.J. Watt, you asked him what did he do for Christmas? Sounds like he was very busy. Went over to Shane Leckler's house, watched his kids open presents, then went put in some charity work at a local hospital, then went back to the stadium, the facility to work out Christmas night. This man loves football. It's not work to him.
He's been a regular at the Children's Hospital in Houston. And he's done it with very little fanfare. Doesn't like a lot of television cameras when he goes and visits those kids. And 2nd down pass off the hands of Douglas and incomplete. We go to New York and get an update with James Brown.
Bart, an aim for revenge?
Oh, yeah, after losing 38-0, Matt Ryan on 3rd and 13 finds his favorite target, Julio Jones. Levitation dunked on Luke Kuechly. Takes it in for the 70-yard touchdown. Oh, man. Atlanta up 14-10.
You know what? I bet you Solomon had hops like that.
Back
I think
in the
that's
day.
what he said, Spiro. Is that right?
Hey, JB, did he just break the tape when he crossed the goal line? That was a nice little track move. I like that by Julio.
Solomon had some hops like that, no doubt. 3rd and 12. Here's Mettenberger trying to make something happen, buying himself some extra seconds. Pass falls incomplete. Intended for McBride, and we see a flag thrown towards the end of the play. You had a pretty good sized vertical, right?
Especially when I use that trampoline, you know?
Eddie Pleasant was in the vicinity as we await the call here from our officials. Last time the Titans were shut out, by the way, November the 28th of 2010 in Houston. A game that they lost 20-0.
Illegal contact on the play. 4th down.
Okay, so after a bit of a delay, they pick up the flag And it will be 4th down and long coming up. And a busy afternoon continues for Brett Kern, and there's just nothing that you see from this offense that lends you to think that they have moved any closer to finding success.
Huge difference when Zach Mettenberger is under center, as opposed when this offense is being led by Marcus Mariota. I think there's a huge disparity.
7th punt by Brett Kern in this game. Appeared to be some contact after that ball was kicked. No flags as Mumphrey watches it sail out of bounds. 31-0 Houston on CBS. Oh, you rarely see an offense average less than 3 yards per play, but that has exactly been the case here with Tennessee till this point, down 31-0 with under 6 minutes to play in the quarter. Chris Polk going backwards. Tackled on the play by David Bass. Next Sunday, the NFL on CBS will bring you doubleheader action to close out the regular season. Lineup will be determined according to flex scheduling. Check your local listings, beginning with your Super Bowl 50 team. JB, Bart, Tony, Coach, and Boomer on the NFL Today. Updated score from Miami. Colts in front of the Dolphins 15-9. Colts win that game. Then the AFC South Division title will be determined next weekend. Colt able to get downhill, finds the edge as he crosses the 45 and picks up a 1st down with a run of 17 yards.
How about that? The Texans starting to crank up that run game. They use a rotation of 4 running backs. Alfred Blue, Jonathan Grimes. You saw Chris Polk there, and Akeem Hunt. Using 4 different guys to try to give them the production loss with the injury to Arian Foster.
Foster lost at the end of that game in Miami Week 7, that devastating Achilles tear. That was their longest run of the afternoon to give him the 1st and 10. Whedon under pressure, looking in the direction of Hopkins, and now a late flag comes in. Sensabaugh on the coverage as they continue to pick on him.
Pass interference. Defense number 24. By rule, the ball is placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic 1st down.
No need for Sensabaugh to hold there. You know, once you're beyond 5 yards down the field, you play coverage with your feet and not your hands. It's about positioning and movement. It was a great pass rush by Brian Orakpo on that play. Whedon could not afford to hold the ball any longer. The ball's going to come out. And I'm sure Sensabaugh is saying, hey, he has his hands on me. You can have your hands on him, but you can't hold him. You can use your hand to get balance or just for positioning. As you take a look at Brian Orakpo tying those shoes, because he had a great pass rush on Brandon Whedon.
Turns out to be an 18-yard penalty as the athletic trainers continue to tend to Orakpo. Stay with us. Never miss a moment of football action with the CBS Sports app. Every play and score, every game, and every highlight right as they happen. Download the CBS Sports app now at cbssports.com/mobile. Nissan Stadium on an overcast day here in Nashville. Looks like Brian Orakpo's okay. He'll try to collect himself on the sideline. 1st and 10. This is Polk inside the 30 and tackled at around the 29. So we've seen Cody Sensabaugh struggle here with Hopkins over the last couple of possessions. You played DB in this league for a long time. If you could say something to Cody, what would you tell him here to try to make an adjustment?
I would tell him to stay on top, try to get vision through the receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, and have your eyes in on the quarterback. Try to see the ball come out of the hands of the quarterback and be in position to make a play. And after you get 5 yards down the field, you've got to have better footwork to be in better position to make a play on the football.
Orakpo back on the field. This is 2nd and 6. Polk again. If you've just joined us, DeAndre Hopkins, 7 catches, 117 yards, and a touchdown. 11th 100-yard receiving game of the season.
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins has been a terror all season long, and certainly today, working against this Tennessee Titans defense, whether it's underneath or whether going up top on this 44-yard pass down the field to beat Sensabaugh, or on this 15-yard touchdown where he high points and plays the football in the air, and Sensabaugh does not.
Well, he continues to chase Andre Johnson, who rewrote the record books as a receiver in franchise history. 3rd and 4. Whedon quickly releases, completes to Hunt out of the backfield. rookie with a first down catch and run as they pick up 6.
Of these 4 running backs, I really like Hakeem Hunt, 5'10", 190 pounds. You can see he's got some quickness about him, really good hands where the ball can be thrown outside of the circumference of his body. He can still go up and get it and get himself back in position to make a play. I like his skill set. I think he's just going to get better.
Hunt making his Houston debut back in week 11, signed off the practice squad before their game against the Jets. B.J. Daniels back on the field. Takes the direct snap and then hands off to Hunt. And he's been a nice little addition. Brian Hoyer told us he's been like lightning in a bottle for this offense, giving them a bit of a shot in the arm that they needed. As you see some of the quarterback numbers from both Wheaton and Daniels.
Yeah, I'd like to see B.J. Daniels maybe keep the ball a little bit on maybe one of those read option plays, see what he could do out on the perimeter a little bit. It's going to be matched up against bigger defenders, and he will have the speed and quickness advantage.
All the different Houston quarterbacks. You see Hoyer, who's made the trip here to Nashville, hoping to make his return next weekend in their season finale against Jacksonville. And if Indianapolis holds on and wins in Miami today, the AFC South Championship could very well come down to that game between Houston and Jacksonville next weekend.
Houston's been taking care of business. They're a well-coached football team. You know, Bill O'Brien, I think, is an exceptional coach. I think he's shown it through some adverse periods this season. We talk about that Week 7 game. I think it was a turning point to their season. But you can tell they hunkered down. They began to coach this football team. The players respond.
Wheaton from the gun. Here comes Tennessee on the blitz. 3rd and 5. Throwing end zone. Incomplete. And that time, Sensabaugh making the recovery. Good coverage against Hopkins.
That time you can tell they got out of sync, did Hopkins. Looked like he jumped a little early, thought the ball was maybe be out a little bit sooner from Wheaton. But Sensabaugh was in much better position to make a play. See, he's got vision back in. Now I'd like to see Sensabaugh time his jump a little bit better and not allow Hopkins to win the height advantage by going up before the defensive back can get up for it.
Two guys who know each other very well. Former teammates in Clemson. Sensabaugh, the former 4th-round pick, knows Hopkins' game as well as anyone else, but still having all kinds of issues. 36-yard attempt from Novak is good as the Texans build on their lead down at 34-0. Coming up on Saturday, CBS Sports hoops it up with a triple header. First, Ohio State and Maryland square off in a women's Big Ten bash. After that, you'll see the Tennessee Volunteers battle the Auburn Tigers in the SEC. And finally, Baylor, Kansas. It's all right here on the road to the Final Four, CBS Sports. Well, how about Brandon Wheaton? Looked a little bit shaky, as you'd expect early in this game, but starting to get comfortable. You see his last 10 attempts.
Yeah, completed 7 of them, 2 of them for touchdowns. So he's got, you said, a better feel for it. I think he's gotten a better feel for DeAndre Hopkins, but we also saw him throw a touchdown to Nate Washington.
Wheaton taken 22nd overall by the Browns back in 2012. He was a 29-year-old rookie. After he graduated high school in Oklahoma City, went and played minor league baseball for 5 years, drafted by the Yankees. Could never quite get comfortable on solid footing in Cleveland. He's bounced around since that point. 3 starts with the Cowboys earlier this season. Released by Dallas. And here he is now making his first start as a Houston Texan.
You know, Cleveland Browns are another one of those organizations that continue to rotate coaches. They've used first-round picks on a number of quarterbacks since coming back in '99. Remember Tim Couch? Brandon Wheaton was one of those first-round picks that they took. Johnny Manziel is yet another. Keep changing coaches. They keep changing the systems, making it tough and difficult for quarterbacks to grow and develop for that franchise.
Challenge that so many franchises have had around the league. Mettenberger completes on 1st and 10. That's Delaney Walker. As that clock continues to run, 5 yards on the hookup. Tackled by Max Bullock.
Let's see if Zach Mettenberger can get something going within this offense.
Only the 4th catch for Walker for 15 yards receiving. 2nd and 5. That pass is caught 7 yards as they will move the chains. Mettenberger going right back to his tight end.
Remember, Zach Mettenberger has started 8 games. This is his 9th of his career. He's lost all 8 of them.
Started 6 games as a rookie last season before he sustained the shoulder injury that ended his season. Mettenberger throwing down the field, and that pass is caught. Was he in bounds? The officials say he was out as Harry Douglas just ran out of real estate.
And Harry Douglas was open for quite some time. He made a double move. Oh, that looked like 2 feet might be in bounds. They're playing it on the big screen up top. Mike Malarkey's taking a look at it. He's got his hand on the red flag, and there he is. He's going to throw it down. And that's how you get help from the home stadium. They gave the coach and all the players a second look at it.
The ruling on the field of an incomplete pass.
Oh, Malarkey had a pretty good view. That is a gigantic high-definition video board here at that end of the stadium. He was looking up with the rest of the fans in the house. And they will challenge that call, which is an incomplete pass.
Take a look at it right there by Harry Douglas. Great body control, good footwork. It's going to be close. Right here.
Well, Douglas, who began the year as a starter, supplanted by Dorial Green-Beckham, but now right back in a top wide receiver spot. As Tennessee losing Kendall Wright to a knee injury earlier in this game. Let's bring in our officiating expert, Mike Carey from New York. Mike, what do you see here?
Okay, by the numbers, first he has to have control. You see he sticks the catch. Then he gets 2 toe taps down. Very quick at regular speed, very difficult to catch on the field. High def saves us. That's a catch. You know, I'm in the booth. I reverse that to a catch out of bounds.
And how about that, Spiro? You know, you and I, we talk about it week to week, that if you're the visiting team and that's your receiver making that play, you don't get the advantage of, you know, the away team giving you a look at it on that Jumbotron. They're smart in some of these stadiums. They're going to help the home coach, but they're not going to do Bill O'Brien's team a favor by showing it. Very interesting how that works, home and away.
After the 37-yard line, 1st and 10. The game clock will start on my signal. Tennessee is not charged a timeout and wins the challenge.
All right, so the call is overturned. It's a 31-yard reception. Mettenberger to Douglas. Officials will start to run this clock here as soon as they are set. Tennessee looking for their first points of the afternoon.
I thought Harry Douglas was a good offseason acquisition via free agency. They brought Delanie Walker over 1 year ago in free agency. Now we get to the 4th quarter.
That'll take us to the end of the 3rd. Houston in front of Tennessee 34-0. We'll return to Nashville after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 50. Well, you make your first Pro Bowl, you get your big head size, huge size poster, video cutaway board, or cardboard cutaway board, I should say. A lot of Houston Texans fans here in Nashville. And it has been their game till this point, 34-0 as we begin the 4th quarter. Spiro Ditas, Solomon Wilcott, Zach Mettenberger is going to take a shot, throwing end zone. Intended for Harry Douglas, who had the long reception that was overturned a moment ago. A.J. Boye was there on the coverage.
J.J. Watt was in pursuit of Mettenberger. He continues to fight hard. We talked about him playing with that one hand. He's playing with a club. The cast on that hand. Still learning how to perform and play at a high level with it. He said it's a work in progress, but he just loves being out there for his teammates.
Watt has actually gone 3 straight games without a sack. It's the longest stretch since late in the 2013 season. Mettenberger completes to McBride. A lot of that, of course, has to do with the broken bone that he's playing with in that left hand.
He has made a presence there, even though Right there, wasn't able to do much. There's the double team, but look how he's hustling, getting in the face of Mettenberger, forcing the high throw, still putting in work in terms of the run defense, and then there, getting in the face of Mettenberger yet again, batting down that pass, something we've seen him do that throughout his career.
Well, even with this little lull, he's still tied for second in the league in sacks, first in the NFL in both quarterback hits and tackles for a loss. Third down pass is complete. Delaney Walker on the first down catch. His progress takes him inside the 10. They pick up 20 and a Tennessee first down.
A.J. Boye is in coverage on Walker. He slips and falls down. Walker's able to get the separation and haul it in for a catch. How about this? Titans knocking on the door, trying to get the ball into the end zone.
Injured Houston Texan is Jadeveon Clowney, who today is playing only the 17th game of his career. He has missed 14 games due to injury over his first season plus. You see Clowney on the left side of your screen. Just looked like that right leg may have buckled underneath him. Well, those are the ones, Solomon, that really scare you, the non-contact injuries. Clowney will gingerly make his way to the sideline. And their athletic trainers will take a closer look. First and goal, Tennessee. Titans have never been shut out at home in their franchise history. Mettenberger completes right at the 5. That's Harry Douglas on the catch. They pick up 4.
About Max Bullock coming in with that aggressive tackling style. We've seen how their aggressive tackling has paid off, led to some takeaways and turnovers. You should take a look at Jadeveon Clowney, but they've got a good core group of football players. Bullock's one of those linebackers that plays the way that Romeo Crennel likes.
Also Bernard McKinney had arguably his best game as a rookie last week. And that win in Indianapolis. Second and goal. Fake the initial handoff, and now it's Bishop Sankey. Boy, had a seam, and then the defense quickly converged on him as they chop him short right around the 2. It's a pickup of 4, and it will be third and goal.
Yeah, it looked like Crick and Bullock again able to make the tackle down inside the 5-yard line. Looked like Sankey was going to go in for a touchdown for a moment there.
Well, Sankey is a guy who has really struggled, a guy that they took in the second round before last season. Malarkey hinting in our conversation with him on Thursday that they would take a very close look at him over these final 2 games to see where he's at. Third and goal. Mettenberger's set. Football comes loose. J.J. Watt getting to him. And isn't that a familiar sight between these two teams? Texans recover the football as the possession for Tennessee ends in disaster. Just as we were talking about a little lull for Watt, comes up with the sack for Houston. J.J. Watt builds on his sack total for the season, 14.5 on the year, and number 50 allowed by this Tennessee offense. So the Texans still pitching a shutout. Solomon, take us back to the sack. What happened?
Should have had himself a touchdown. Watch Bishop Sankey comes out right there, and there's J.J. Watt. Now, before Watt gets there, Mettenberger's got to throw the ball, take his first option. Look, ball should be thrown now. Well before J.J. Watt ever got there, Sankey was on the goal line, would have had himself a touchdown right here. See, he looks at him, and then he takes his eyes off Sankey, and then J.J. Watt lowers the boom. So there are many plays like that we've seen all day where Mettenberger could have saved himself, taken the first option, and gotten the ball out of his hands sooner.
Just doesn't seem to be processing as fast as you need to. And see what the defense is doing. 2nd and 8. As Chris Polk is able to cross the 15-yard line and get close to the 16, tackled by Jarrell Casey. And a lot to think about for Mettenberger on that sideline.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot to think about. This is a completely different offense for the Titans when Marcus Mariota's in there. And Mariota's a first-year player. He plays with, I think, much greater poise, greater sense of awareness. The ball comes out faster. He understands what he's seeing defensively, and he trusts himself to cut it loose.
And such Devion Clowney carted into the locker room. And 3rd and 2. This is Polk again. Texans needed the 18 for the first down. Unable to get it. Wesley Woodyard on the tackle as Bill O'Brien will send out his punt unit.
Well, they're going to get the ball back, and Mettenberger's got to dust himself off and get back in the game. It'll be interesting, though, to see if Mariota can get himself fit and ready to play next week. You know, I know the coaching staff said, hey, we don't want to put him in there if he can't protect himself, if he's not healthy enough to do that. But it's just, you know, in order for him to improve, for this offense to continue to improve, you want to get him as many reps as possible.
And Malarkey's saying this week that if he's healthy enough to play, he will play in that regular season finale next weekend. Here's Douglas, zigzags up the field, and then is tackled right around the 26, 56 yards on the punt. Curtis Drummond with the special teams tackle for Houston.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, half the cost. Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. And by TD Ameritrade.
Some of the sights downtown Nashville, 34-0 Texans, as they inch a little bit closer to an AFC South championship. 1st and 10. Mettenberger back onto the field after the strip sack. And another turnover by that J.J. Watt defensive gem. Turnovers, big story today for Tennessee.
Antonio Andrews, first possession of the game, put the ball on the ground, then on the punt return. Harry Douglas fumbles, and then Andrews, his 2nd fumble of the day. And then Zach Mettenberger holding on to the ball too long.
That pass off the hands of the tight end Fasano. And it will be 3rd down coming up for the Titans.
As you can see, the 4 turnovers by the Titans have led to an abundance of points for the Houston Texans. They've taken advantage of it. J.J. Watt, you know, he finds a way to make a play at the most opportune moment to help his football team.
See what they've done on 3rd down today. This is 3rd and 5 from their own 32. Mettenberger from the shotgun goes underneath. It's caught by Sankey, but he'll be well short. This is an offense that lost Dexter McCluster to a broken wrist back in Week 14 against the Jets. And as Mike Malarkey told us, he was really the only real game breaker, Solomon, that they had in their offense. Just a huge blow to this unit.
And Sankey can be that kind of player. Think of him as maybe a 3rd down back, a catch and run kind of guy. He's not going to be your bell cow runner between the tackles on 1st and 2nd down, but I think he does have something that he can offer this football team when used properly within the offense.
Malarkey was very candid talking about his running backs and just not having that home run hitter that they have been able to lean on at any point this season. 58 yards on the punt from Kern, 6 on the return by Mumphrey. 4th quarter, Indianapolis still in front of Miami, 18-12. So if these 2 scores hold, then the AFC South Division winner will be determined next weekend. Texans will play against Jacksonville, and Indianapolis will take on these Titans at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indy. Another reminder coming up, we'll have the Subway postgame show from New York. JB and the guys are standing by. They'll take you around the league, get you all the important scores, all coming up next on the Subway postgame show. Brandon Weeden, the spectator at the moment. B.J. Daniels, whom Houston signed just this week off Seattle's practice squad. Chance to get a little bit more comfortable in this offense. He'll take a chance down the field. Catch made by Jalen Strong, but he was out of bounds. Good looking ball thrown by Daniels.
Watch Jalen Strong. It looks like catch, 1 foot in, but see the heel goes out of bounds, and that's why they're going to rule this catch out of bounds. It was a really good catch, but that left foot in the heel was on the white, right in the chalk, even though he was able to get that right foot down.
It was so hard to do what Daniels and Whedon have done, especially Daniels. Was with Seattle for their game last week, then took a red-eye flight, arrived in Houston early Monday morning, and basically has been grinding away in that playbook since. And as they have said this week, it's basically like learning a language with all the different vernacular and terminology with each of these teams' offensive systems.
And that's why I thought it was smart of Bill O'Brien, George Godsey, the offensive coordinator, the two seen right here, the way that they were able to implement an offense that allowed both quarterbacks to play, where you didn't have to put it on the shoulders of one guy as they were filling in for Brian Hoyer. And I think when you can give them a limited amount of package, they can play fast, execute their area, and go on to help this team get a win. Of course, they were going to have to rely on special teams and on defense as well when you're playing with your fourth-string quarterback.
See Whedon's passer rating a moment ago, very efficient with what he's done. This is 3rd and 8. Jonathan Grimes will get to the 20. We'll be short of the first down as O'Brien will send out his punt team. And I like what O'Brien said. You know, we want to get input from our quarterbacks and know what plays they're comfortable with. He said it's a democracy.
Yeah, not a dictatorship. I love the way that he was able to verbalize that. He understands that you only can run what players can perform in the areas where they can best execute. When they're very comfortable and familiar, players can play fast and they can have fun playing, and you're going to get high levels of production.
They've had 9 different quarterbacks on their roster over the last 2 years, but as he said, he and George Godsey, there's such synergy between them. Godsey, who actually played for O'Brien as a collegiate quarterback at Georgia Tech. What a job those two have done. 34-0 Houston on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by national mortgage lender Quicken Loans, home buy, refi, power, and by Verizon. Better matters.
Opryland Hotel, as we welcome you back to Nashville. 34-0 Houston. Zach Mettenberger and company. Mettenberger completes. It's Delaney Walker, 8th catch of the day, as he goes over the 50-yard mark with a pickup of 3. Want to extend our congratulations to our guy Wayne Richardson, vital part of our CBS crew. Got engaged earlier this week. We wish he and his fiancee Kelsey Simpson the best. Got engaged on Christmas Day. I didn't know Wayne was so romantic.
There you go. Congratulations. That's how you do it, right?
Wayne actually a Nashville resident. Very excited for those two. On 2nd and 7, Mettenberger's pass is incomplete. Again, looking in the direction of Delaney Walker, who didn't appreciate being snubbed by the Pro Bowl voters this week.
And I agree. I think he's one of the best in-line tight ends in the National Football League. What we mean by in-line, he can line up tight to the tackle. He's a good blocker in terms of the run game. He can catch it down the field. He's good over the intermediate and middle part of the football field, and he's very good inside the red zone.
What a year he's had. A 57-yard touchdown catch last week. So he will be a Pro Bowl alternate, and a pretty good chance that he'll be selected, as he will make the trip to Honolulu and play the game if, in fact, he gets the call.
Now think about it. He's playing in the AFC, even though, you know, they integrate now.
Right.
There's no true AFC, NFC, but when you got guys like Rob Gronkowski, Tyler Eifert in Cincinnati, was playing at real high level this year. How about Jordan Reed? That game played last night for the Washington Redskins. There's a lot of really good tight ends in this league, but in my mind, Delaney Walker is one of them.
We get no arguments here, as Walker has been one of the few bright spots for this team in his 10th NFL season out of Central Missouri. 9th punt by Brett Kern. It's a 52-yarder as the Houston offense will come back onto the field. Well, we spoke about it earlier. all the different Texan quarterbacks since the beginning of last season.
How about that? Ryan Fitzpatrick, Ryan Mallett, Case Keenum. These guys are now playing for other teams. Brian Hoyer playing for this team. This is what he's done this year. And Mallett, of course, and T.J. Yates. Unfortunately lost for the season, tearing his ACL last week's game against Indianapolis. And now Brandon Wheaton gets a shot.
Try to run that clock as much as they can here. And it's, at least for a week, Sam, when you look up, and here's a team that's at the top of its division, very well could lock it up by the end of today, depending on what the Colts do. But they've got Brandon Wheaton as their starter, barely been with the team a month, and their backup quarterback, B.J. Daniels, has been with them less than a week.
Yeah, but guess what? You have to keep playing, and the coaches, you know, we talk about it being a players' league or a quarterback-driven league. I think it's a coaches' league. It's the coaches who have to get players ready to play, because there are a lot of teams around the NFL that have had to play with backup quarterbacks. What about the Pittsburgh Steelers? They were able to win when Ben Roethlisberger was away, and now that he's back, they're red hot with the playoff hopes still intact.
Polk on a short run on second down. Colts right now still up 18-12 with about 3 minutes to play in the fourth quarter of that game in Miami.
Coach playing with a backup quarterback, 40-year-old backup quarterback, and Matt Aspect, who was knocked out of today's game. So a lot of these teams, while they're trying to battle to get into the postseason, they're having to do so with backup quarterbacks. I don't know that we've seen this across the landscape of the National Football League. So many teams around the league playing without their starting quarterback.
The immortal Charlie Whitehurst inserted into that game. Our director, Andy Goldberg, has a Whitehurst poster on his wall, I'm told, in New York, his favorite player. 3rd and 7 with that clock continuing to run now inside of 5 minutes to play in the fourth. Told you Tennessee has not been shut out since late November 2010. A game played consequently in Houston against the Texans. Here's B.J. Daniels from the gun, fakes the handoff to Hunt. Daniels, a very unique player. Bill O'Brien said, haven't had a guy as versatile as him in his time with the Houston Texans. Began his career as a quarterback, and then the Seattle Seahawks converted him to a slot receiver and kick returner this season. But so far today, we've seen him primarily at quarterback.
Yeah, he spent some time, as you mentioned, in Seattle. Said he learned a lot just watching Russell Wilson. The leadership, the way that he prepares, the way that he comes to work. Sometimes when these quarterbacks are touring around, they get a chance to watch some of the great ones play. They can learn and grow and develop as a result.
Former 7th-round pick of San Francisco. Before moving on to Seattle. He won himself a championship ring as a member of the Seahawks. Harry Douglas with a minimal return as we send you to New York. First, we'll keep it here at penalty marker thrown.
After being spanked 38-0 2 weeks ago.
The Atlanta Falcons defense stands tall on 4th down. Cam Newton looks for Greg Olsen, incomplete. It's all mathematical right now with 1:48 to go. Atlanta leads 17-13.
Will Carolina fall from the ranks of the unbeaten? We'll find out. Back to Spiro and Solomon.
Well, you see what's in front of the Panthers. What a interesting last couple of minutes that'll be against Atlanta. Wow. So much still at stake for Carolina.
Carolina came off that emotional win 1 week ago against the Giants. You know, you go up against Atlanta, you got to really come to the fight every single week as you take a look at what the Houston Texans need to do to clinch the division.
Updated score for Miami. Colts clinging to that 6-point advantage. It's still a 1-possession game. Mettenberger under duress, but under release. Nice job to get it out to Sankey. Sam, when you look ahead to this Houston team and try to predict what they can do potentially if they get into the postseason, certainly looks like they will. But it's hard to predict when you just don't know what they'll have at quarterback at this point.
Yeah, and they hope to get Brian Hoyer back. And remember, if they win the division, they will host a wild card game.
Well, entering today, the likeliest scenario, as Fasano makes the catch right at the 50, likeliest scenario for them was getting a postseason berth and facing Kansas City. Of course, so many dominoes still have to fall. But they will take a couple of baby steps closer to that division title with this victory today. Here is Sankey. Inside Houston territory, all the way down to the 20. Finally tackled by Curtis Drummond. 30 yards on the catch and run by Bishop Sankey.
That's the Bishop Sankey that we saw at the University of Washington. And we talked about the reason why he was drafted here. He could catch it coming out of the backfield and provide a spark.
Former second-round pick who has disappointed till this point. First and 10 pass from Mettenberger falls incomplete. Intended for Douglas.
Well, there's no doubt that Tennessee Titans need to improve their run game. They're going to need to go get a real special bell cow back. They're used to seeing those kind of runners in these parts, whether it was Chris Johnson or whether it was Eddie George before him. And can't say enough about Earl Campbell, who had played with the Houston Oilers. Boy, was he fun to watch.
Sankey in motion. Mettenberger from the gun. 2nd and 20. Walker. That's his 9th catch of the afternoon, and that could very well take us to the 2-minute warning. We'll see if they try to one more play. Mettenberger now 25 of 46, 222 yards, and the interception. 2-minute warning. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Another reminder coming up, we'll have the Subway postgame show from New York. JB, Tony, Bart Boomer, and Coach Cower standing by. They'll have all the latest scores around the league, highlights, and analysis. The Subway postgame show is coming up next. Can Tennessee get on the board? That pass is complete, right up the seam. Mettenberger to Douglas, and it will be 1st and goal, Titans.
You know, even in today's NFL, where you're not supposed to be able to hit a defenseless player, this still takes guts by Harry Douglas to go into the teeth of the defense and snag that pass from Zach Mettenberger.
Tennessee with 2 timeouts left, $1:51 to play. This will be the 7th play of the drive. They have had 6 passes till this point. And Harry Douglas now 6 catches, 79 yards on the afternoon.
Now, he's a good football player. We talked about him being a good addition. He had spent the previous 7 seasons with the Atlanta Falcons, that 1,000-yard season there, playing with Roddy White and Julio Jones.
1st and goal, Mettenberger rolls out, probes the defense, and will throw it out of the back of the end zone. Dorial Green-Beckham, their rookie receiver and 2nd-round pick out of Oklahoma, who had 2 100-yard games in the last 3 weeks, does not have a catch in this game, by the way.
6'5", 235 pounds, but we thought this pass was incomplete, but look at this. That is a completion. Sign him up.
Get him a uniform.
Great one-hand grab.
Well, didn't the Jets sign someone who was holding up a sign before last week, said he'll play wide receiver for food? This young man could have a future in front of him. That pass is incomplete. Dorial Green-Beckham off of his hands. That guy who was signed by the Jets had a sign that said, "Hungry for success." What a story that's been. As we are told that Carolina has lost. Atlanta pulls the upset in Week 16 as the Panthers bid for a perfect season ends.
Well, if a one had to come in there somewhere, you'd rather it be in the regular season, right?
Absolutely. Jets-Patriots have just gone to overtime. That game tied at 20. Mettenberger throwing through the end zone, incomplete. And again, it was Green-Beckham, the intended target. So a 1st and goal turns into a 4th and goal.
That's 3 throws in a row where I think Mettenberger had a chance to maybe complete one. I think this one may have been intended for Harry Douglas right there. Look, falls down. See, that's where the ball was. He did have Green Beckham coming across it. I thought Green Beckham was open.
Malarkey's going to go for it here as they try to avoid being shut out in their home stadium. Delaney Walker lines up, split out top of your picture, and now Tennessee forced to burn a timeout with the play clock about to wind down.
Now Mettenberger with this pass attempt, don't throw it away. There's no reason to throw it away, right? No reason to throw it in the stands. It's 4th down. Give someone a chance to catch it, preferably one of your teammates.
Well, here's what the remaining schedule looks like in the division. Houston and Indianapolis approaching victories here. And so it'll come down to next weekend. A win by the Texans against Jacksonville will give them the division. Colts will still have a very outside chance to win it as they'll take on the Titans in their regular season finale. 4th and goal. 1:35 remaining. Mettenberger throwing back to the end zone. Has his man, Trey McBride, for the touchdown. And the Titans will avoid being shut out for the first time since 2010.
Really good read by Zach Mettenberger. He poised himself, had good vision. I thought it was a well-designed play as well. He had a couple of receivers right around the goal line, but then watch him go to the second level. See right there? Went behind the defense to McBride. And there you see Walker running along the goal line. That's what lured the defenders toward him, leaving McBride open in the back of the end zone.
So it takes him nearly 58.5 minutes, but Tennessee finally able to get on the board. First career touchdown for Trey McBride, the 7th round pick out of William and Mary. Malarkey electing to go for 2. Mettenberger hit on the release. Low pass for Fasano, incomplete as they are unable to convert. Whitney Merciless coming with the heat, able to get to Mettenberger.
He's going to throw it, but you can see with pressure coming right there. See, that ball just sort of wobbles and goes low because Mettenberger was being hit as he was releasing that ball. Watch this. Right there. Even though the ball came out, Whitney Merciless delivered the below.
So 34-6 with 1:31 remaining in this 4th quarter. Updated score from Miami. The Colts have defeated the Dolphins 18-12, so that keeps their dimming hopes alive for a division championship. But that game last week was the big one. Houston going to Indy, beating the Colts for the first time in that city. First time in franchise history. Had lost their previous 13 trips. And now Bill O'Brien's Texans with the inside track at their 3rd division title since 2011. Chris Polk will not play it, as Houston will have it from the 20. So here's what things look like at the moment. AFC playoff picture. New England right now in overtime taking on the Jets. That game tied at 20. They win that game and they will lock up the 1 seed, as they have already clinched the division and a first-round bye. Kansas City a winner against Cleveland, so they get to 10-5. And right now Baltimore in front of the Steelers. How about that? Pittsburgh had come in red hot, and go figure.
Yeah, after an impressive win against Denver 1 week ago, they can ill afford to fall this week and allow the Jets to slide into that wild card spot.
I mean, that is hard to believe. 20-17, the Ravens up in that game with 12 seconds left. Baltimore team with nothing to play for. But of course, all the history between those two teams, they would like nothing more than to spoil Pittsburgh's party. But this game is so tough to predict, Simon, week to week.
Of course, a lot on the line in the Monday night game.
Sure.
With Denver and Cincinnati playing for that number 2 seed.
So huge for the Bengals to try to get that first round bye, something that they have not had in a number of years. Try to get Andy Dalton an extra week of rest.
Have not had a first round bye since 1988. That's eternity. Almost.
Well, you have to feel good for Bill O'Brien as he'll get the Texans to 8-7. And as we alluded to earlier, he just has had the perfect temperament for this team. All the adversity that they've had to deal with, as they will move a little bit closer to the AFC South Division Championship. The Houston Texans nearly pulling the shutout as they will defeat Tennessee by the final score of 34-6. Special thanks to our crew, our producer Ryan Galvin, Andy Goldberg, our director, and the rest of our fantastic CBS crew here from Nashville. 34-6 the final. Now for Solomon, our entire crew, Spiro Ditas saying so long from Nashville. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 50.